نسل رپ قسمت 37. در قسمت قبل بخش اول مستند هیپ هاپ فراتر از قافیه و آهنگ رو براتون پخش کردیم. همونطور که در قسمت قبل گفته شد، این مستند به کارگردانی بایرن هارت در سال 2006 ساخته شده و فرهنگ هیپ هاپ رو در امریکا از 3 زاویه زن ستیزی، خشونت و همجنسگرا هراسی مورد بحث قرار میده و کار ترجمه این مستند رو بهرام نورایی انجام داده. البته لازم به ذکر که این برنامه برای افراد زیر 18 سال توصیه نمیشه.
It is true that these women appear not to be resisting. What I would hope, however, is that these women understand the extent to which they are participating in a culture which commodifies women sexually.
Back at BET Spring Bling in Daytona Beach, Florida, I ran into this young cat, 18-year-old J Hood.
So you don't have any problems with like rappers calling women bitches and hoes and stuff like that?
Nah, cause tell you the truth, some of them is bitches, see? You gotta realize that. You got the sisters and then the bitches. Huh? You know? You got the sisters.
Are you saying that those are the bitches?
Uh-huh.
What makes those the bitches?
Them the bitches, cause you see how they dress. Just look how they dress. Sisters don't dress like that. Huh? Look at that. Look. I might go over there and smack it.
I called the women over to see what they had to say about being called bitches and hoes because of what they were wearing.
It's because we want to enjoy the weather and have on some nice shorts and a nice bra. That's just like a panty and bra set. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like men sexually objectify you?
That's a man for you, though.
So you don't have a problem with men who objectify you at all? You know what I'm saying?
That's
or
a personal problem with
that focus on your body parts?
That's their opinion. That's their problem.
Okay, how do y'all feel about images of women in rap music?
Well, if it's not really directed towards you personally. It's just what they say is sells. If you don't take offense to it, then hey.
So you don't have like a problem with dudes referring to you as like
but I know he's not talking to me. I know what I am.
Let's describe a certain female. Ice Cube coming at you, crazy bitch. I think a bitch is a bitch.
It's funny when I hear women say, when these rappers are calling, you know, women bitch, hoes, not talking about me. It's like, yo, they are talking about you. If George Bush was to get on national TV and make a speech and he started calling black people niggas, would you be like, I don't know who George Bush is talking about, but he ain't talking about me?
So they're coming out here with their ass showing, you know what I'm saying? We gonna slap them on the ass. That's just the way it is, you know what I'm saying?
I heard you saying something, if you gonna hit somebody with your pocketbook?
No, I was going to hit somebody with my fist.
You gonna hit somebody with your fist?
Yes.
Why? What's happening?
Well, I'm being touched and it's unwarranted and unwelcome.
Some people say it's just boys being boys, but I think it has a lot to do with boys figuring out early that girls are there for us to sexually objectify or to be our playthings.
I've been doing a lot of walking around and videotaping and things like that, and a lot of the women are having a real hard time moving through the crowd.
Yeah, that's one of our biggest problems. As you can see, we're spread kind of thin. We can't be everywhere, so our concern is that somebody's going to be accosted out here and just don't want anybody to get hurt or raped or anything like that.
Have you made any arrests?
Not so far this weekend, it's been good.
If it was so bad like that, Snoop wouldn't even have no fans and none of that. Snoop was talking that bitches ain't here since the beginning of time. They want to hear that. They the main ones out there listening to the record call them.
There you have it, the description of a bitch. Now ask yourself, are they talking about you? Are you that funky, dirty, money-hungry, scandalous, stuck-up, hairpiece contact-wearing bitch? Yep, you probably are.
Being in Daytona really made me realize how desensitized we have become to the sexism and the misogyny and the sexual objectification of women in hip-hop culture.
Hip-hop is about drugs and hoes.
You know what I think is deep? Just the fact that you hear so many brothers calling other brothers niggas It's amazing that we haven't really talked about it more. Because to me, that's just as pervasive as the misogyny.
And now, a public service announcement for those who may be confused, courtesy of the G.
At this Summer Jam concert, 50 Cent questioned Ja Rule's manhood in front of thousands.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been brought to my attention that you guys don't know what niggas look like. Take a look at this. I know that's not hip-hop. You know that's not hip-hop. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And the next time you're flipping through your radio or through your TV, you know how to identify it.
The greatest insult that a man might imagine for another man is to assume that he's less than a man and to assign him the very derogatory terms that one usually associates with women.
In the rest of our culture, when men want to call other men, you know, something that's really going to degrade them, they call them a sissy, they call them a punk, they call them all these kinds of names. That's outside of hip-hop. That's everywhere.
And to those critics who are so pessimistic about our economy, I say, don't be economics girly man.
The insult is double. It's both an assault on women, but it's also a reinforcement of a negative and vicious form, a malicious form, if you will, of masculine identity.
Man, unfortunately, you know, I was one of those cats who used to do that to brothers. You know what I mean? I'll just be real with you. And it was a false sense of power, you know, and it was a way of making someone else feel powerless.
Hey, I'm about me a drag queen. This guy think he don't, but he's wearing a tongue ring. Hey, yo.
Don't you know I'm about to bite you? I got a tongue ring, so I niggas like you.
It's calling your manhood into question. It's calling your sexuality into question, saying, you know, if you're not this, you know, you must therefore be gay. You must be a, you know, you must be, you know, nigga. It's all of those things.
What does that mean? What does that say about us? Could it really be saying that we may be insecure about our masculinity? I ran into these three hip-hop heads back at Daytona Beach.
Now, let me just ask this question. This is out of curiosity and probably naivete and ignorance. But like, what do you classify yourself as? You know what I'm saying? I mean, are you women? Are you men? I mean, what do you classify yourself as?
I mean, on a day-to-day, on a regular day-to-day, I'm just a regular guy. But every now and then, I do dress up and women clothes. I like to wear women clothes. And besides, I look good in them.
How do you feel about homophobia in rap lyrics? Does that bother you at all? Does that make you feel any particular way?
It turns me on. Not me.
You said it turns you on. Why does it turn you on?
It's so aggressive.
Do it.
So aggressive.
But they shouldn't be doing that because we some of the people who support a lot of their music, buy their music, go to their concerts and everything. We do.
Yeah. I'm dealing with homophobia in hip hop, right? Homophobic lyrics and things like that.
I can't partake in that conversation. That homo, as you talking about?
Yeah.
I can't even talk to you about that.
Why not?
Because I mean, with all due respect, you know what I mean? I ain't trying to offend nobody. It's my cultural, what I represent culturally doesn't condone it whatsoever. So I'm slide. I'm being allowed.
All right.
Word is bar.
Well, let me just ask you this, boss. Let me just ask you this. Do you think that a gay rapper would ever be accepted in hip hop culture?
Pass the Henny and then some. Say the word and we're gone.
I've never even seen straight black men in large numbers even try to have conversations with gay brothers, you know what I mean? I know folks have done it one-on-one, I've done it one-on-one, you know what I mean? But I don't really see that happening, man. Because I think part of the onus falls on straight men to really, one, begin to process how we define manhood.
Thank you. It took a while for some of us to come out, but you know, that's a process. You know, we like in the corner like, yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, you know, I'm cool, but you know, I'm not down with that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's cool. And then like 10 years later, we were like, hey, I'm gay.
I
started rhyming, and I came out like right around the same time. And it was in that situation that I became so much more aware of how homophobic hip hop was, because here I am, a black man trying to love myself in spite of the fact that I've accepted myself as gay, you know, or along with the fact that I've accepted myself as gay. And when you do that, there's not a lot of love for gays in hip hop. I mean, we know that from the beginning through now.
Timum talked about the irony between homophobia and a rarely discussed issue in hip hop.
It's this real ironic sort of thing in hip hop that it is such a homophobic culture oftentimes, and yet it's so completely homoerotic. You know, when LL Cool J's got his shirt off and is licking his lips, it's not just women looking at that. You know, it's guys too. I'm looking for my 50 Cent picture. There is some awareness of the homoeroticism, but people aren't really willing to confront it.
I'm on my way to Vibe magazine to interview the editor of Vibe. And I'm going to talk to him about homoeroticism in rap music and hip-hop culture. Not too many brothers talk about homoeroticism in rap music, so we'll see how it goes.
Can you just elaborate a little bit more about what homoeroticism looks like?
Homoeroticism in media looks like LL Cool J with no shirt on in his music video with a big 10 belt buckle, standing there flexing all greased up, staring at you. It is showing black men strong, naked, greased up, and as these really like almost like godlike objects, and they're everywhere. They're on magazine covers. You see Nelly on the cover of Vibe with no shirt. You see 50 Cent on the cover of Vibe with no shirt. And a lot of it is taken from the cultures in prison where everyone's tatted up, they don't have belts, so their pants are falling down. These are all the types of things that are very homoerotic, but they're also very masculine and considered very thug in our culture.
Whether exaggerated or not, men speak about their sexual conquest. Me and my boy hit it. Me and my boy did her. Me and my boy did this. So there's a lot of me and my boy up in there. Not much about the woman, but me and my boy. To form a union erotically, but one can't help but conclude that in the passionate pursuit of these women, only if my boys can have them, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none, Snoop said. All of that is directed toward an erotic intensity that bonds men at the expense of their heterosexual allegiances with females. So to me, all of those ways prove that there's deep and profound homoeroticism in hip-hop culture.
Now, do you get a lot of attention from guys?
Oh, yes.
How much attention from guys? Have you been getting a lot of attention at this time?
Already.
Already. When we stepped out the car, it was like well,
how did it step to you?
You have guys that come and they be like, meet me around the corner and do it on the DL, and I love it.
It's like a lot of hardcore, thugged out cats here. Those are the type of dudes that
that's all we mess with.
Exactly. It's just a big front in front of their boys, and that needs to be known worldwide.
Black manhood, by the structures and the powers that be, the corporations, they found a way that they think they could put soul in the bottle. If they could put soul in the bottle, you know, then they could put manhood in the bottle and then show the bottle and advertise it. And we can follow the crumbs to the big bad wolf.
I decided to follow the crumbs and ended up here at this hip-hop power summit held in New York City. The summit was hosted by Power 105.1 FM, a radio station owned by media powerhouse Clear Channel Communications. There were hundreds of young black men and women here seeking pointers from hip-hop moguls like Russell Simmons, Irv Gotti, and BET executive Stephen Hill. Outside were dozens of aspiring rap artists handing out CDs and demos, hoping to get attention from anyone who would listen.
Call me nice when I'm smoothed out, even without the got loving the beat. Bring beef, got Mac 11s like the WB. Got thug rappers that can't get over they rhymes. Some niggas quit on they slugs, my guns cocking overtime. I make hate songs, spit till your face gone. Life's a and I'm trying to get my rape on. Man, I ain't leaving the party until the cake gone. Get your balloon pop, nigga, I bang strong.
Everywhere I go, and I've been shooting this documentary for like 2 years now, you know what I'm saying? And every time I have kids spit for me, you know what I'm saying? It's all about the same thing. It's all about how you gonna kill somebody, how you gonna, you know, how you gonna rape somebody.
I could walk up to you right now and say, yo, could have been a doctor.
example, I could have been a pops. Wonder what would have happened had I would have been a cop. Would I help the block, protect the good from the bad, or just be killing niggas cause the power on my badge? You know what I mean? That's nice, but nobody want to hear that right now. They don't accept that. They don't give us deals. Who's the industry. They usually don't give us deals when we speak righteously and things of that nature. You know, they think we don't want to hear that.
I think when you're talking to a lot of these young rappers, the most important things for them is to get a record deal. And what they're hearing from the record companies is that there are only certain examples of blackness that we're going to let flow through this space. And when it comes to hip hop, there's certain conventions in which we want to see. We want to see kind of the hardcore thug performing hip hop. We want to see booty shaking in the background. And when hip hop videos don't fit into those conventions, they don't get played.
When I think about what we call the golden era from like 87 to 92, you know, you had LL Cool J, you had NWA, you had Public Enemy, but you had De La Soul, you had Kwame, you know what I'm saying? And so you had a diversity of black male expression. And so if you wasn't with Chuck D, you can get with De La Soul if you were a bohemian. You wasn't with them, you can get with Kwame, you can get with Tribe Called Quest, you can get with, you know, Jungle Brothers, you know what I'm saying? So there's so many different types.
The current images out there of black and Latino men in hip hop, right? Do y'all feel like y'all want y'all sons to be like that? No. I mean, maybe some aspects of business, you know, being an entrepreneur, being wealthy.
They don't see that aspect on TV.
What
They don't see even know that 50 Cent working out a deal with with a person at a company. They see 50 Cent on TV with his vest on. Yeah. They see him with his gat on his waist. That's what they see. Because they don't, I mean, the media doesn't want to portray us, or I mean, minority people with, like, they don't want you to see that we good fathers. They don't want you to see that we good businessmen. Exactly. We don't just sell drugs. I sold water last summer. Holla.
When Self-Destruction by KRS-One came out, we was all pumping it and loving it.
We got ourselves together so that you can unite and fight for what's right.
But now, you can't go to a label with Self-Destruction. Why? Because you're going to self-destruct. The label's not going to put you out there. They're not going to do it.
Self-destruction. Head for self-destruction. Nobody want to hear that no more. Soon as 50 comes saying he's killing us, he's selling out the roof. He's not got one kind of soothing, educational song, none of that. In the club, hit you with the ball, all of that, that violence. It's good music, but you know, it's got life-honoring content, and it's selling like mother hot flowers.
Because every city you go to in America, there's a power this, a jam in that, or a hot something playing the same 10 to 12 songs over and over again. And so what it does is perpetuate the mindset that the only way that you can be a man, a black man, a Latino man, is to be hard, you know what I'm saying, to denigrate women, to denigrate homosexuals, to denigrate each other, to kill each other. There's something wrong with that.
We have trusted the media and the corporations to define what hip-hop is. It's like now, Hot 97 is the station where hip-hop lives, so we hear that, and we don't understand that it's some corporation owned by people who have nothing to do with hip-hop, who are just trying to cash in. It's like, oh, hip-hop lives there. All right, so, you know, they must know. That must be what rap is. No, we had never let the media define us, so why are we doing that now?
I went to talk to former Def Jam president Carmen Ashurst Watson about the shift in lyrical content in rap music.
The time when we switched to gangster music was the same time that the majors bought up all the labels, right? And I don't think that's a coincidence. At the time that we were able to get a bigger place in the record stores and a bigger presence because of this major marketing capacity, the music became less and less conscious. We went to Columbia, and then the next thing I know, our producers of Public Enemy were overproducing an Ice Cube album, and then the next thing I know, we're pushing a group called With Problems, BWP.
And once that perpetuated into one thing and corporations get involved, yes, you'll sell 2 million NWAs as opposed to 1 million PEs. And you're going to go from fight to power to gin and juice.
Laid back. With my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Now once the market forces have helped that shift come along, that's when you get 60-70% of the buying community now is a white community.
After 700,000 is all white people. After your scan passes 700,000, it's all white people, and he's well past 700,000. So the white people want to hear that killing evidence. They want to hear about that.
I was
was on the Daytona Strip when I saw this white guy in his SUV blasting Fabulous's Keeping It Gangster.
How you doing, man? Pretty good. All right. Hey, listen, man. Where you from?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
We're born and raised?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this your car?
I wish it was.
Are you fronting? Are you fronting like it's your car?
Yeah, I am fronting like it's my car, but nah, it's my dad's.
How long you been listening to hip hop, man?
7, 8 years. I mean, since it started to come out in 91, 92, ever since then.
What is it that draws you to hip hop? You know what I mean?
What draws me to hip hop?
Yeah.
Just the pure emotion in the beats. I mean, I love the beats. I love every lyric that they spit. I mean, everything about it is just it's my style. I mean, you guys, colored people can say that it's their music, but man, I can get down to it just as much as they can.
Who are you, man? Did you just say colored people? I
don't know what term do you want me to use? I'm trying to be. I'm not a racist at all. That's why I feel like I can come down here and just roll and I can have no problems. No one's gonna try to do anything at me. I mean, I'm just trying to have a good time down here.
I hear you, man.
It is something that's as put on as baggy jeans for white boys. It is as put on as a fitted baseball cap and a do-rag. That's all they get. That's all they're gonna be able to get and identify with. And I know you white boys. I seen you. You know, you are the guys who come up to me and ask me why I am the way I am. And if you don't understand, ain't no way I can tell you. There's no way I can tell you. It comes with this.
You know, I've never been to the hood. I've never been to a ghetto. I grew up in, upper middle class, basically white suburbia. We had a very small minority in our town, and that was it. And to listen to stuff like that is a way of us to see almost a different culture, well, a completely different culture. It's something that most of us have never had the opportunity to experience. I've never had to worry about drive-by shootings, and the stuff in the music, it appeals to our sense of learning about other cultures and wanting to know more about something that we'll never probably experience.
Does it reinforce stereotypes about black?
Oh yeah. It does. Especially if they talk about growing up poor and never having all this money, and then they come on MTV or VH1 with their large chains and their nice cars, and they sing a song about busting caps in people.
If you really want to know where this kind of, predatory black man comes from, look back at films like Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation is hailed by critics as a cinematic breakthrough and a great American movie. But D.W. Griffith's blockbuster, made in 1915, spread fear and paranoia about black masculinity with its mean-spirited stereotypes of black men as lazy, untrustworthy, oversexed and dangerous, particularly to white women, and gave rise to the Ku Klux Klan.
If the KKK was smart enough, they would have created gangster rap, because it's such a caricature of black masculinity, yet young people of color are being presented with this idea that somehow these people represent us and they're cool and they're gonna stand in for us against the white power structure, while they're completely subservient to that white power structure. It's really an ironic, sad reality.
I asked BET executive Stephen Hill about reinforcing stereotypes, but he just passed the buck.
Music television station. Probably what should happen is you should look at the people who are actually making the videos. We are in some ways partly a video channel and play the videos that are given to us.
As an African American man, how do you feel about what you see? I mean, do you?
Okay. He just walked away without answering my question.
BET is the cancer of black manhood in the world because they've one-dimensionalized us and commodified us into being a one-trick image. We throwing money at the camera. We flashing, jewelry that can actually give a town in Africa water. We got $160 million contracts. Because we got happy niggas.
What do you think about that as artists, the ones who participate? Do you feel like you're reinforcing any stereotypes? Do y'all talk about that?
If they look at me in the eye, they think it's confrontation. Why? Because they can't answer. They can't answer to it. And it's almost like now, you talk about, and it ain't their fault. This is all systematic. It's all part of genocidally breaking things down to the point where people are going to follow a program that gets played out for them.
Do you ever feel that way as an artist? Do you feel like
I'm doing what they want me to do, or are you, how do you feel about that?
I'm doing what I want to do. Like, they're compensating for it. And by me doing that, I'm gonna help my people out. I'm gonna get, you know what I'm saying? That's how I'm gonna get my people out. The niggas that's eating the most off me and 50 and all them, you're never gonna see them. They're in Kalamazoo somewhere with a bent up hat on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get up, the corporate guy. The guy the big man that end of the day stamped the check.
So white or black?
All scratch white.
Who's making the decisions about what people see? Who's making the decisions about what gets the multi-million-dollar contracts? And overwhelmingly, this is no great secret, overwhelmingly it's white men in suits who are making those decisions. And they're deciding, this makes money, I'm gonna sell it. I don't care if it's hurting people. It's a business decision, right?
If that's the case, then of course, white record executives are not going to want to hear social critiques of white patriarchy or white supremacy and the like. And it may be the job of these black record executives to speak up and articulately.
It's only at the end of the day, it's only entertainment. Like, if nobody's going out shooting up, so be it. Like, Dice Clay, all of them niggas get up there and say incredible to Jerky Boys. They making millions. I'm just trying to feed my daughter.
The only thing that can turn the tide is black men. Before anybody says I'm a rapper, I tell them, first of all, I'm a man.
Here it is, bam, and you say, damn, this is
a man tells his business situation like, we can't do that. We won't go there. We can't. It's a slap in the face to me and my constituency, my family, where I come from and all. That's a man. And that's what has been lacking in the music business and the film business, that we haven't had men represent black people.
Chuck D and I wrapped up our interview, but our conversation about the representations of masculinity in hip-hop continued. I headed back home to New York thinking about an American culture that mythologizes and mass-produces hyper-masculinity, teaching its boys that real men are tough, violent, control women, and cannot under any circumstances show weakness. Hip-hop in that regard is pure Americana. Hip-hop is trapped in a box.
How many of us are willing to step to the plate and say, you know what, this definition of manhood might not be the way to go anymore. We need something different, something new.
As I drove up the highway, I listened to 50 Cent's The Massacre, a testosterone-filled, highly anticipated follow-up to his multi-platinum CD, Get Rich or Die Trying. I thought about the millions of boys and men across race, class, and culture who will undoubtedly connect with the hypermasculine themes on his CD. Those limited and ultimately self-defeating ideas about manhood that hurt men as well as women. I longed for a broader vision of manhood in the music I grew up with, the music that I love.
با ما از طریق صفحه فیسبوک نسل رپ و ایمیل naslerappco@gmail.com در ارتباط باشید. و همچنین انتقادات و پیشنهادات خودتون رو در صفحه فیسبوک نسل رپ حاشیه با ما به اشتراک بگذارید.